What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella, but correction, welcome to the final episode.
I couldn't say it. That's why Shana had to say it.
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
Yes, you heard correctly. Welcome to the final episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. Sorry just to drop it on y'all like that. The network cut our funding, and that's just how it works. Nah, there's actually no network, but we'll explain why later. But this will be the final episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. So let's make it count, y'all. Grab a drink, grab a steak, grab a handful of butter, grab your own booty. Just whatever's going to make you enjoy this episode to the fullest. Before we get into today's topic, there's just one thing I want to talk about real quick. I was supposed to make an episode about this, but since this is going to be the final episode, I'll just slip it in now. Winter is coming. No Jon Snow. Events have been happening. Cons have been taking place. A lot of us have been going out. People have been having a good time for the most part, just trying to enjoy what they can. Then there's the people that haven't been going out. Instead, they want to spend their time shaming people for all the events they go to. I can't believe I would actually have to talk about event shaming. Is that what we've come to? We're just going to shame people for the events they want to go to. Shana has said this time and time again. It's like, you can't blame people for what they're allowed to do. A lot of people are vaccinated. A lot of people feel safe. So they should be able to go out. You don't know the reason why they're going out. It could be for their mental health. It could be to support a fellow creator. It could be to support their fellow business. It could be to support their favorite con. Like we've said before, some of these cons are being forced to open. If us attendees don't go, this con might not come back. People just flat out going on social media trying to call out their friends, trying to sneak diss, saying shit under their breath like, oh, I can't wait to see all the people that catch COVID that went to Youmacon last week, knowing damn well they had dozens of friends that went. Mm-hmm. Those people are publicly wishing sickness on their friends. Like, what kind of piece of shit do you have to be like, well, you went to Youmacon, I hope you catch COVID? That's not cool. It was one thing for the first couple events that opened, everyone was kind of weary. Not everyone was vaccinated. But now people have been vaccinated. People, including myself, have got their booster shot now. People like Shana and I have been taking our precautions. We've been getting our vaccinations. We've been staying safe. We've been following all the rules.
It's a shame seeing people attack attendees and even con chairs or people that run events. And they're just telling them, oh, how dare you run events and how dare you do this and da-da-da. Okay, but they still need to make their money and these people still need to go out and live their lives. There is a way you can live your life even during this pandemic. There's a way that you can make money outdoors again. Do what you're supposed to do, get your vaccinations, do what you have to do, and you can enjoy the rest of the world as well. As a lot of you may know, me and Renji have started doing events again, cosplay parties, things like that. And we've even had people come after us talking about, are you guys following the guidelines to be able to run this party? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And those very same people, I've seen them click attending to events that haven't said anything about mask mandate or anything about vaccination mandates, but it's because it's what they want to do rather than like what they don't really want to do, like i.e. our parties. So I know it's not because we're not doing regulations. It's not because of that. It's because you just don't want to do it. So why are you attacking us? You know, if you don't want to come, don't come.
People are picking and choosing when they want to get on their soapbox and preach all this health and safety. But as Shana just said, I've seen these same people click they're attending this convention because it's their favorite convention, though that convention hasn't even posted any mask mandate, vaccine mandate, but they're for sure going. Yet they want to come after us, two independent artists putting up our own money to host these events for the community. Free events, mind you. The last 3 parties we've thrown in Chicago have been free to attend for the community, for the people that haven't felt safe to go to a big convention. So we're hosting these smaller, intimate events. Yet they're blasting us on social media. They're coming after the venue. One of my friends got into it with the venue owner. He was like, dude, this is a private event. I own this building. I understand business law better than you do because I own multiple businesses while you're just some otaku behind your keyboard. They were messaging me with some heat like, you better check your boy. He's talking all this shit. I'm like, he's right though. It is his venue. Why are you coming after me and Shana? Our hands are tied to what the building owners wants to do. If they want to allow certain things, it's their building. Just like when some people work retail. Back when there was a mask mandate in every state, some people would still walk in without masks. You, the cashier, never went out of your way to go and tell someone to put their mask back on. Why? Because the higher-ups always told you, just let them be. People like us who host these events, we're kind of at the mercy of the venue management and what they want to allow. Yet these people are still coming after us knowing damn well this is our livelihood. Like, what kind of a friend are you when you're going out of your way to knock my event down a couple pegs and make sure people don't go just because you don't agree with it?
Yeah, pick and choose your battles. You can be concerned with yourself. You can be concerned with other people's health, whatever. But don't come at somebody when you know good and damn well it is allowed to happen. And just because they don't have your specific mandates and your specific guidelines or whatever, then you can make that decision to not come yourself. And if you don't want to support us in any way, shape, or form, then don't. I would rather you not than you come and attack us on our own page and say what you want to say and then just be done with it when you knew good and damn well you weren't going to come anyway. So put that in your back pocket, save it for later, and revisit that at some other point in time.
Yeah, and that's not even just pertaining to our event, but that was just one example. We're seeing people all over the community just taking shots at all these events and these conventions they weren't going to anyway. You live in Michigan. Why are you bitching about what's happening at a California convention? They have different laws. They have different guidelines. It doesn't affect you because you weren't going. I know this is going to sound insensitive, but there's no other better way I can put it. But your health is your concern and your problem to deal with. Just because you're not comfortable doesn't mean everyone has to go out of their way to make you comfortable to attend this event. The only way to prevent you getting sick at these events is not go. Thousands of other people have made the choice to feel comfortable. They've done what they've had to do, so they feel safe. They've made the decision to go. If all that isn't good enough for you, if whatever laws are in place or regulations that event or that venue has going isn't enough for you, then stay your ass at home. I'm sorry. I know it sounds insensitive, but at this point, with everything opening back up, people getting vaccinated, your health is your concern and your problem to deal with. You want to stay safe, then it's up to you to stay safe. It's not my job to make sure you're protected at all times.
It's not insensitive at all because I even said months ago, you guys knew that this country wasn't going to do anything about the pandemic anymore. Like, they weren't going to do any more mandates. They weren't going to do any more lockdowns, nothing. You guys knew that. We both went over this a long time ago. We said things are going to be opening up. There's vaccines now. There's things that can make you and your life more comfortable moving forward. So don't be surprised if cons start opening back up. Don't be surprised when bars start opening back up and clubs and things like that. And people are just expected to live their lives now. And you can take whatever precautions you want to personally, but the world is going to stay open whether you like it or whether you're comfortable or not. So this is the world that we live in right now. So you better either get used to it or I don't know what to tell you, but this was going to happen inevitably. So
unfortunately, that's the harsh truth. You can't expect the rest of the world to feel sorry for you because you don't feel safe leaving yet. In the first few months of everything opening back up, we didn't feel safe either. But because of the industry we work, this is our life. People like us depend on live events, vendors, creators, artists, performers. We all live off of this live event world. So we're going to go out there and the people that support us are going to come out to support. That's just how it's going to be.
And people keep saying, even to this day, I don't feel safe going back to a convention until 2026. Okay, but the country and the world it's not going to change at all. That's just the way that it is. So it doesn't matter if you're comfortable in 2024 or 2030, whatever. It's still going to be the same. Sorry to break it to you, but it's not going to change anytime soon or anytime later for that matter.
Yeah, the rest of the world has decided that they're just going to try to live with COVID. I've been watching Thailand and Laos and Southeast Asia very carefully. Still got to go back and rescue my grandma at some point. Been waiting for those borders to open. Thailand, for example, is real dependent on tourism. They've been trying their hardest to do lockdowns and keep people out. Now they're just like, screw it. You know what? They're like, once we reach a certain amount of vaccinations, it's not even that high either. They're going to open the world back up and like, all right, tourists are welcomed, because these governments understand their citizens ain't shit. They're not going to do their part to keep this pandemic down. So they're like, you know what? Let's just open the world back up and they could deal with it. So for those of y'all that have been attending events, just be ready for some of your peers to event shame you as well. Can't believe it's a new thing within the cosplay community, but why not? You know, some people ain't got nothing else better to do but just to bitch about things that they can't do.
And the way I see it, let them, because people like us and people who are also working in the entertainment industry, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to stop doing what we do to make a living. So it's going to have to come down to, you're either going to support us or you're not. So
yeah, it's like every other industry has been allowed to go back to work, no questions asked. But when it comes to live entertainment or just the live event industry, period, so many sticks and stones are still thrown at everyone involved, from the talent to the organizers to the business management behind all of it. It's like, whatever. We got to go back to work too. If there's a con, if there's an event, a concert, something you want to go to and you feel safe going to it, just go. Just live your life. This is coming from someone whose cousin just died of COVID less than a year ago. This is coming from someone whose brother almost died from COVID about a year ago. Shana's dad also almost died from COVID. But we're at that point to where it's like, you got to live your life. Shana and I also had a friend who took her own life because her mental health was so low during the pandemic, she couldn't take it anymore. So staying home isn't always the option for everyone. So this mental health struggle during the pandemic is real. Shaming people for wanting to leave the house isn't helping that problem at all. So if you feel the need that you got to step out just so you start feeling better, so you can start getting your life back together, then do it. With that said, that brings me to today's topic. You got to live your life while you're able to. Live your life while you're able to. Too many people put things aside. Too many people wait. Too many people put things aside. Too many people wait for the perfect circumstances. Then they end up being very resentful years later. They get mad that they couldn't do what they wanted to do, but it's no one's fault but their own. Yet they want to turn around and be resentful of all the people around them, because it's easy to blame everyone else but yourself for not doing the things you wanted to do with your life.
we've all made this mistake, so don't think that we're calling anyone out about it. It happens. You get wrapped up in your life, you go to work, you do your thing, you have a family, whatever the case is, and then we always get caught up doing what we do and forget to live our lives and forget to plan that trip that we've always wanted to go to. And things like the pandemic is a perfect example how you can't hold yourself back because you never know what's going to happen. I'm not saying you have to go rush out there and chase your dreams of being a movie star or a rock star and doing things like that can't just happen overnight. I'm saying things like something as small as taking a vacation or something as even simple as going camping or going on a road trip. I tell people all the time, you don't need a lot of money to do that. You can just get in your car and go. It's just as simple as that. Why I say that is because I have a lot of people in my life who always look at me and always says like, oh, I'm so jealous of you. I'm so envious that you get to do this and that. Sometimes I just get in my car and I take a road trip or I go somewhere. I go see somebody that's far away that I wouldn't go usually see all the time. It's just as simple as that. Just go out and do something. So many people are scared to even take time off of work using their PTO to go on a vacation. They're thinking, oh, work is busy and work is this and that. There's always some excuse as to why they won't go and do it. And they want to rack up their points or rack up their PTO just for the pandemic to happen and you don't really need PTO anymore. Now, don't you wish you used it?
That's a big one I hear all the time. People are afraid to take vacation from work. You have paid time off, PTO, for a reason. The company gives you that so you maintain a good life-work balance. They're supposed to let you take that. Yeah, your boss wants to be a dick about it, but you would still need to take it. I have a friend in California, bless her heart, hard worker. This girl never goes on vacation. In the state of California, what's awesome there, your vacations roll over. The company can't force you to use them all in 1 year. When I worked for the Chicago branch of my company, every year it was like, use all your vacation or you lose it. California is like, nope, it's going to keep rolling over. And if you don't use it, we're going to pay you for it. My friend was just like, I'll still get paid for it. It's not going to go to waste. This bitch got like 300 hours of vacation just rolled over, and she will not even take a week off to go do anything. You don't have to go somewhere special, but use it. Even people that worked within my company, they never used their vacation. They just kept piling them up. And I kept asking why. Unlike people who work retail and certain jobs, my boss was super cool. We worked in live entertainment. We did live shows. We set up concerts, special events. We've done like the Grammys and just big stuff like that. We're always busy. My boss was like, look, if you need to take time off for something, as long as we have enough people to cover that week, you'll get it off. If you're the first person that puts in and no one else has, you can have that week off. So everyone else who comes after you, they're just screwed. And I took that lesson to heart. There's no perfect time to leave work. They're always going to need you. They're always going to come up with some excuse. So my bosses from the Chicago branch and the LA branch were like, just take the time off. We will figure it out. That's what a good boss is supposed to say. Not your bullshit assistant manager at your retail or restaurant job. They just don't want you to leave because they don't want to cover you. You have the right to take that time off. And the whole blackout period, I used to quit jobs over that.
I have a quick story about that. The opposite effect of PTO. Well, at the hotel I used to work at, one of the housekeepers wanted to go back home to China to celebrate her birthday, but her birthday fell on a holiday. I think it was around New Year's Eve or something like that, Christmas. We had the same situation where our PTO could roll over as well. She had everything planned out to a T. She was going to go to China with her family. She had a 5-star hotel because if you work for a specific brand, you get discounts from the same brands of hotels. So she had herself set up with a 5-star hotel. She was going to get a whole ass discount. She had everyone all excited. The little housekeepers are all excited for her because they all were, from China as well. And she gets down to when she was about to put in her PTO, and she's like, oh, hey, boss, I got my PTO lined up. Can I take this trip? Boss was like, nope, you cannot go for that many days. You cannot leave the country because this is during the time where we're going to need you the most, and there is nobody here to cover you, so you can't go. I was like, oh, hell no, he did not tell you no. Oh, my goodness. Because I think she had enough PTO to be off for like 3 weeks to a month. So he was like, oh, hell no, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything during this time. She was so devastated. You could just see it in her face. Like all the color from her face just drained. He was like, sorry, you can either quit or you just can't go.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But a month is excessive.
It is.
Some company policies do say you cannot take off more than 10 days. They can't deny you sometimes, but some companies do say we have a limit of how many days you can take off. But
I don't know exactly how long it was, but he just would not let her go regardless.
A month in a field like that is a long time.
But the good thing that came out of that was there was a lot of people from out of country that worked at the hotel, and enough people complained to HR and was like, hey, I need to be able to spend time with my family outside the country and stuff of that nature. And then finally, at some point, they're like, okay, they were being really generous and said every month one person can go back to their country and spend a month out there with your family. So that was pretty cool. Like everyone got to take turns to go out of the country. And it was because of that situation where, they had to make that possible for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you go somewhere like China, that's like a 30-hour flight or however long it takes, depending on where you fly out. But you can't just go there for a week.
Yeah.
Even when we went to Thailand, I thought the 2.5 weeks wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, but I still got an earful about it at the same hotel. They were about to not let me go, but I'm like, you know what? You can fire me if you want, but I'm not going to miss out on anything in my life because of this job. Sorry.
Yeah, we had to take off 17 days or 18 days because you lose 2 whole days flying there and flying back. Depending on where you stop, you got like 4-hour layover. hell, you spend at least 20 hours just in a plane alone. Then you got to count the time that you're at the first airport. It's 24 plus hour travel day. You lose that, and then of course you're jet lagged, so then you lose half a day to a day sleeping.
We took damn near 3 planes to get from Thailand back home. That's how long it took. Didn't we have to take a plane from...
Oh, yeah.
We were in Phuket.
That's right. We're in a different part of Thailand. Yeah, the way back. Okay, we're on the southern island. So we took a plane from Phuket to Bangkok. That was like an hour and a half flight. Then we had to wait at the Bangkok airport for 2 hours until our flight came. Then we went from Bangkok to Tokyo, which was 5 hours. Then we had a 1.5 hour layover there. Then we got back on a plane from Tokyo to LA, and my foot was bleeding the whole time.
Oh, yeah, you're gushing blood.
I was gushing blood from a boat trip less than 24 hours earlier.
You cut your feet on one of them sharp rocks on the ground.
One of them corals.
Oh,
Luckily,
yeah?
this British nurse stitched me up, and she's like, I don't think you need to go to the hospital. You can probably make it back home.
Probably.
I remember Yaya Han was yelling at me on Facebook, go to the freaking hospital. It's going to cost you like $6 American to get stitched up. I was like, the British nurse said I was good.
It was lucky because she was a wounds nurse on top of that. I'm like, thank you, Buddha, for you being here right now on this boat right now.
See, and we wouldn't have had those memories if we backed down from work and didn't take the vacation.
Hey, these are the stories. This is what counts.
Yeah. Those are... I'm still thinking about that today. Every time I look at my foot when I'm like trimming my toenails, like the scar is still slightly there. I'm like, man, I cut my foot in Thailand and I almost bled to death. Yeah, vacation memories.
Oh, I'm so wounded.
Dude, it was gushing.
It was.
The tour boat guy didn't know what to do. He brought me a box of tissues. He's like, here, fix your foot.
I know. That was horrible. I was scared. I'm like, he's dying.
Leading up to the pandemic, I had like 200 something vacation hours racked up. And mind you, that's after going to cons throughout the year, going to Japan for 10 days, going to London the year before that. So we went on vacations every year. Plus we took time off for cons. My coworkers were like, they were just shocked I was going to take more than one vacation that year. In 2019, right before the pandemic hit, in that September, Shana and I went to New Orleans for her birthday. That was one vacation. And then December of that same year, that's when we went to Thailand. And then a couple months later, February comes around and the pandemic hits the world. I'm so glad I said screw it and took those vacations. I had the time. Why not take it? While my coworkers sitting here looking like Boo Boo the Fool as we all got laid off in March and all our vacation time was just gone. They quote unquote paid us out for it, but they really just used it and punched us in on the clock right before they fully laid us off. So we didn't really get paid a lump sum for it. They're like, oh, well, we're cutting hours, so use your vacation time to make up for your lack of a paycheck. With that said, let me tell you a story about a childhood friend that never got to go on his international vacation. As y'all know, we've moved back to the Midwest. I've reconnected with some people that I grew up with. I finally got to see one of my old friends from high school after years of not seeing him. We're still cool, but we don't talk all the time. He hits me out of the blue to commission a Squid Game mask from me. By the way, we're still taking Squid Game mask commissions if y'all want one. Don't fall for the bullshit on Amazon. Anyways, he hits me up out of the blue. I was like, cool, I got you. Comes over with a 6-pack of beer. We're having a couple drinks. We're catching up. He recently got married like a year or two ago. I'm thinking he's happy. Boy, was that the opposite. Out of nowhere, he just starts bitching about his wife and bitching about his life.
So I was in the other room, minding my own business, doing my thing. I kind of overheard him get a little heated about something. So, naturally with me, I'm looking for the drama. So, I came out the room like, ooh, what's going down? With my beer in my hand, like, what's going on out here? So I took a seat next to them and I'm, talking to them, catching up with the friend. I think he had casually mentioned how our trips was, and he was talking to us about travel advice. As I'm telling him about England, because he really wanted to go to London, and he wanted to explore England. And I'm telling him like tips and tricks and things to do. And as I'm telling him about all this stuff, I could immediately see the stank in his face just rising and rising. Like the bitterness was boiling. And I'm like, oh, like I could visually see him getting more like, angsty, and I can see the angst in the veins in his head. So I just back off a little bit. I'm like, you okay, bro? What's going on? He's like, yeah, well, that's cool and all, but I can't go and do those things anyway. And I'm like, elaborate.
He may as well had a digital clock on his forehead because you could see when he was about to explode. As soon as Shana was like, why? Can you elaborate? Well, let me tell you why. Because my wife is broke as F. Whoa. Out of nowhere.
Let me get the popcorn.
Ready? And go. I finally got my passport. I can finally travel. And my wife ain't got no damn money. We can't go anywhere. Shana was like, so why can't you just go without her? Knowing damn well he couldn't, but she just wanted to be petty and poke the bear.
I didn't want to poke the bear. I just asked him a simple question because there's a lot of times when I can't travel or don't want to travel or do things, and you go and do your own thing, and I'm cool with that. So I'm just like, how am I the only person on this earth that is cool with their significant other traveling by himself and doing things with his friends? Why can't anyone else do that? So I asked him to see if his wife had maybe a little bit of courtesy. Like, I'm wondering why he's so pissed off.
Well, first off, you're not a basic bitch. That solves a lot of people's relationship problems. When I say bitch, I'm referring to all genders. When your significant other isn't a basic bitch, it solves so many of your relationship problems. Like jealousy, I don't even want to get into all that. To answer your question, because you're not a basic bitch. That's why I can travel and do things on my own without you. You understand it's for work or it's for this reason. Or hell, you've even told me, hey, it's been a long time since you've seen your friends back home. Why don't you go take a trip to the Midwest and go hang out with them? Obviously, this was when we lived in LA. Mm-hmm. You've told me all that stuff. My friend, on the other hand, was like, she would never let me go anywhere without her. I can't have fun without her. Oh, whoa, God. Red flags, multiple red flags right there. And then he's deep diving into his marriage, which we weren't expecting. I thought we were just going to drink these little beers and just have a fun chat and he'd be on his way. But he was just letting it all hang out, talking about how she doesn't work and he's got to spend all his money taking care of her and her 3 grown-ass kids. And I was like, is that why you're so broke?
Kids. They're more like grown as adults. She talks about these damn kids like they're kids, like they're babies. I'm like, you got a grown-ass man living in your house. I'm telling this to the friend. I'm like, you have a grown-ass man living in your house that you paid for, and you got to wait until he gets a job or wait till he goes and has his own life. He's a grown-ass man, just the same as you. Why can't you just throw him out into the ocean and let him swim, you know?
Yeah. And not to sound like a dick, but them ain't your kids.
He didn't procreate them, so...
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention that. He came into this marriage, and those are all her kids.
Yeah.
She had these kids early on in life. Baby daddy's still around, but my boy married this girl and took on all 3 of these grown-ass kids, bless his heart. He was just venting about everything. I finally became a citizen. I finally got a passport. Now I can't even travel. If I was never married, I'd be all over the world right now. Would you though? So let's break that down. I didn't want to remind him about the opportunities he passed up. So let me get into that. So this friend of mine, this guy's always had money, not because he's rich or he came from a wealthy family. He's always been a hard worker. As soon as he was able to get a job, he was working at McDonald's as many hours as he could take, working multiple jobs, some under the table at other restaurants, but he was always hardworking. Though he had money, he never lived his life, though. There was always some excuse. There was always, I'm waiting for this circumstance. This needs to happen first. When it comes to his travel stuff, he's always talked about traveling, but he's never done it. The first big opportunity Shana and I offered him when we were moving from Chicago to LA. We're like, dude, we're taking this cross-country road trip. Come with us. Just help us drive. We'll pay for the hotel. We'll pay for everything. You can drive across the country and you could also spend time in LA. He passed that up. Why? Because he wanted to go to a Bruno Mars concert. I was like, bro, really? He was like, yeah, well, Bruno Mars has never come to my side of the state, so I really want to go. Bruno Mars will have other concerts. Bruno Mars performs all the time.
You gave up a big trip for Bruno Mars.
Really?
Really?
How many times do you even have friends that move out of state? We're offering you a cross-country road trip with us for free. Something that he's always wanted to do, mind you. I didn't have to twist his arm because some people don't want to help you drive across the country, but he loves driving, and he always wanted to drive cross-country. We put this right in his lap, and he didn't want to take it because he wanted to see Bruno Mars. I was like, all right, bro, you're never going to get this opportunity again, at least not from your friends. Then Shana and I wanted to start traveling internationally. Talk to him about it. Yo, we're trying to go on these trips around the world. You in? Well, I still need to get my passport. So do we. Freaking go get it. He's not an American citizen. He's a legal resident. I was like, look, the trip's not for a while. We all have time to get it. Once again, well, I want to be a citizen first so I can get my passport, just so my passport lasts 10 years instead of 2. Okay, then get your citizenship. What's stopping you from doing that? Mm-hmm. It's not like my friend just came over from Thailand. He's been in this country almost his whole damn life. Mm-hmm. He can speak the language. He graduated high school. What are you waiting for? Another set of excuses. Well, I'm waiting to pay off my car. And then he paid off a car twice because he's been talking about getting his citizenship for years. I was like, dude, you need to stop making excuses. It's not like to get your citizenship, you're going to college for 4 years. Hell, you just go sign some papers and you pass a test. Who's the first president of the United States? What did Abraham Lincoln do? Is Donald Trump's hair real? Like, these questions aren't hard. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you can get your passport right now. Even as a legal resident, you can still get it. Who cares if you got to renew it? You got the money. Stop making money the excuse. You have the money to renew it. Who cares? You get it for 2 years. You got to pay another couple $100 to renew. Do it. Your friends are traveling now. You're never going to have these opportunities again. Pass it all up. He finally does it. Gets his citizenship, gets his passport. Instead of traveling overseas, what does he do? Go to Vegas and propose to his best friend with 3 grown-ass kids. And that was the beginning of his downfall. And now he's on our couch bitching about how he can't travel. He didn't say one good thing about his marriage either. Mm-mm. That's the shit we're talking about. Live your life while you can, while you're able. He was able to all those years ago. Then he decided to marry this girl. Bless her heart too. She's a cool girl, but she's not the best girlfriend. And now she's holding him back from... Actually, he's holding himself back. He could just say, screw you, this is my money. I deserve to enjoy it too. But he won't because he ain't got no balls. Now it's too late. He couldn't even if he wanted to.
You know why? Because he's broke. All of his money is paying for her bills because on top of being a bad girlfriend or quote unquote bad wife, she will sit there and watch him work. Now he's working multiple jobs. Before he married her, he was only working one really good job and he had money. This kid's always had money. But now that he's married to her, he's having to work multiple jobs to pay for either her kids messing up his cars, which, by the way, they're always crashing his cars, his $80,000 cars that he's already paid for. So he's got to work these multiple jobs just to compensate for his marriage and the people that are in his marriage.
Yeah, it's sad. Even if she did say, yeah, go ahead and travel, he can't. He has no more money, and that's a damn shame. This guy has always had money. When we told the Vegas story, this is the same friend. He paid for everything. He's always had money. He's never struggled because he's always been a hard worker. He's always been willing to work. As we've said, he's paid off so many expensive cars just to have this girl's kids crash them.
And what's sad on my end is I've seen this person for a really long time. I've seen his struggles. I've seen what he's been through. And I've never really felt bad for him because, again, like what we were saying earlier, he just always had an excuse for not living his life. And I can't feel bad for someone who does that. You're self-sabotaging your own happiness. And it's not cool. And it's not going to help you out in any way, shape, or form. And even to this day, like I still can't feel bad for him because he's making excuses for his wife, and it's just another excuse on his plate that he's already ruined his life before, but now it's just like set in stone. And I really still can't feel sorry for him at all.
He didn't live his life while he was able to, and now he's resentful of the people around him.
Yeah, and I can't feel bad for him crying to us on our couch, being resentful. It's like you have these obstacles in your way because you're standing in your own way. You're letting this happen to yourself. You're allowing these things to falter your life. So, like, what can you really say at the end of the day?
I've got another friend from here in town that's been super resentful of her life, super talented hair and makeup artist. She was the most sought after person in the city. Unfortunately, she had a kid right after high school, so she was kind of forced to do the single mother thing. Her dad was cool enough to help her build her own salon at home. That way, she didn't have to go get a sitter and she could work from home and stuff like that. She had a full working single chair salon. She had everything a salon would have. She only opened on the weekends and she was pulling in $400 or $500 a weekend. Easy. She was turning down clients. That's how sought after she was. For whatever reason, she took that for granted and wanted to do something else with her life. She kept saying, I need to go to college so I can be a nurse and take care of my son. And I would always just tell her, like, why? You make $500 on a weekend because that's all you want to make. You turn down clients. Imagine if you opened all week long. Yeah, but I've been known for doing hair and makeup for so long. I just don't think it's enough. Then we'd have conversations on how she wanted to do hair and makeup for like celebrities or for bigger clients, but yet she never pursued it. She kept saying, well, this isn't a future for me and my son. Okay, I get it. You don't feel secure in what you're doing and you want to provide stability for your son. I can't knock that. When you're looking at how much money she's making, you're like, but you are providing security. You're making this much money just being open Saturday and Sunday. Imagine if you opened more times during the week, and she just wouldn't hear it. So after a couple years, I just let it go. You can't help people that don't want to help themselves. If she wants to be a nurse, cool. Do you. Fast forward to the present times. I've talked to her every now and then. I still kept feeling she had the taste for that fame bug, that hustle bug, that she still wanted to do hair and makeup for important people. And I would tell her, why don't you pursue it? She then has a second kid. Now she's like locked in. She can't go nowhere. She like got 2 kids to raise. She finally graduates. She's a nurse. She's making nurse money. But now all of a sudden, she's got the hustle bug. I'm the type of person that'll tell you it's never too late. If you want something, you can make it happen. So what do you want to do? She wanted to start doing hair and makeup for movies. Called me up, wanted to have a consultation on how she can make that happen. I spent hours on the phone with her telling her, you got to move to where the industry is. You got to do this, da-da-da-da. I broke it down for her. And then all of a sudden, she started being resentful of her kids, blaming everything on them. I could have did this if I didn't have my son. I could have did this. Whoa. You were doing fine when you had your son. You chose to have a daughter. Without going into all her details, she even went through that stage in her life. She got with this guy and she really wanted to have a kid with him. And I even said to her, wait, but don't you want to do this? So why are you trying to have a kid with this guy? Yeah, she still did. And what I didn't like about the conversation was she blamed her kids for all this. 2 good kids getting good grades in school. Like, no. This is your fault. You were top-notch hair and makeup bitch making $500 a weekend because you turned down clients. She could have easily made $800 to $1,000 if she opened up to more clients every week, but she didn't want to. I knew what it was, though. She didn't want to pursue it in fears of failure. I knew she had the talent to make that kind of money. She just didn't want to accept it. She wanted to have an excuse saying, no, because I don't want to do hair and makeup forever. And yet, fast forward to present time, she wants to do hair and makeup again. And she's been flying out to Arizona to work with some indie film people. And I'm like, Arizona? What the hell are they shooting Arizona? When Shana and I lived in LA, I even told her, why are you going to Arizona? Come here. We live here. Like, you can come stay with us and do jobs that matter.
First off, going back to the kids thing, it's never a child's problem or fault that you had them in the first place. Never. You know good and damn well what kids do, what they require, how they are. There's no secret. It's not a secret. Everybody knows. And there's really, in this day and age, it's not an accident anymore. You know how to get pregnant. You know how to have kids. You've had a lot of life to live. Even like kids nowadays, like teenagers, they know how babies are made. There's ways to prevent it. There's ways to go around it. If you don't want them, then don't have them. But never blame them because it's not their fault. They didn't have themselves. So just putting it out there. I know it's an unpopular opinion, and I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for it, but it is what it is. Like, there's no other way to put it.
No, those are facts. I'm glad you said that. The first kid, I get it. She was young. Some guy hit it raw. She got pregnant. Then the next kid was conceived while you were a nurse. You deliver babies. You know how babies are made. And not to put all her business out there as well, my friend has had a lot of miscarriages, so it's hard for her to have children. So not only do you usually miscarry, you just letting all these dudes hit it raw, hoping that it's not going to work out. But I get it, because the guy that got her pregnant was her first baby daddy. Long story short, she always knew that her first son was from this guy, but she never asked him for a DNA test. But she held it in her heart, and she always wanted to get back with him. That's also why she didn't want to pursue her dreams, because she was having petty dreams of being with this guy that didn't want to be with her. Small town, dumb bitch energy shit, to be honest, if you ask me. We've had lots of conversation how, like, that guy doesn't want to be with you, but yet she wanted to be with him. So anyways, that's a whole nother conversation.
Anyway, to wrap that part up, condoms are free. I'm just putting it out there.
Condoms are free. The morning after pills, like $50 at Walmart.
You can get, like, it depends on your situation with, like, health insurance and that kind of thing. But birth control is damn near almost free. You can get some kind of form of morning after contraception. That's, depending on your setup, you know, that's damn near free as well. So just do it the right way. And there's really, that's what I'm saying. There's no such thing as accidents anymore. Like, you know how to prevent this thing from happening.
She got pregnant in the state of Michigan. My high school sweetheart and I, as soon as we had sex, she went down to the health clinic. Even though we used protection, she still went there and did her thing, got her checkup, got her birth control. She got a bag of condoms every month for free. They were giving away so many condoms every month. I was like, damn, they're encouraging you to have sex. It'd be one thing, you know, you go get your little birth control shot.
Yeah.
And they give you like one or two. She got a bag of like 30 condoms.
I used to get those too from Planned Parenthood. I used to get them all the time.
They gave you a bag.
They give you a bag of birth control as well. I usually at the doctor they only give you 3 for 3 months, but this place was giving them out like they were candy.
We were high schoolers, and she was coming home with a bag of condoms. I'm just like, I felt like it was a challenge to use them all. You know, like we was trying to have sex as many times as we could. I'm like, okay, we're getting another bag in 2 months. We got to use these all. We don't want them to go to waste.
Wow.
But that's what I'm talking about. This same girl, we went to school together. You live in a state where they're giving out bags of condoms, free birth control, free morning after pills.
That's all I'm saying.
If you really didn't want this second kid, you didn't need to have it. But honestly, I thought she was just trying to trap the guy. Really, she wanted to get pregnant by him to prove that that's his kid, then make him take the DNA test so Maury Povich can be like, you are the father. And that's exactly what she did. After she got pregnant with the second kid that he didn't deny was his, he took the DNA test, and lo and behold, the first kid was his too. And now in present time, she's so resentful of all of that. I had one conversation with her a couple years ago when I came back to visit my family. She happened to hit me up. She's like, hey, I heard you're in town. Why don't you come over for dinner? I ain't gonna turn down free food. Go there, and I was set up for a trap. That was not free. That was 3 hours of her talking my ear off about how she resents her kids and her baby daddy. And I even told her one last time, like, look, you're a nurse. You make enough money to relocate. You can pack up and leave tomorrow if you really wanted to. So what's your excuse now? Baby daddy's out of your life. Your kids are pretty grown. It's not like they're toddlers and they're hard to move across the country. You still have one more chance. If you're trying to pursue this hair and makeup thing on the big screen, you can. You're flying out to Arizona every couple months. Why don't you just commit? Well, LA's expensive. Move to Phoenix or Vegas, 5 hours or less away, and you can just drive to LA when you get a gig. When you don't have a gig, you can be a nurse and take care of it that way. And then again, all the excuses came. You can't blame your kids for not living your life. You and I have had this conversation since we were in high school. You saw me live my life. I've been through a lot of shit. I wouldn't preach to you these things. I wouldn't offer you advice if I didn't live through the struggle myself. And she kept hitting me with yeah, I get it. You're like my brother and I trust and believe you, but I can't do that. You don't have kids and I do.
We don't have kids because we understand that kids will create obstacles that I do not want or need in my life right now. And that's exactly why I don't have kids right now. Meanwhile, you over here with 2 kids that you're blaming for your shortcomings when that's not cool either. So who's the bad guy here?
Exactly. I would hate to be that kid growing up. Yeah, it's my fault that mommy never got to be a hairstylist for the stars.
Exactly.
No, it's mommy's fault. It's mommy's fault.
No. This person is also someone that I do not feel bad for because they placed these things in their lives. They place these excuses in their lives and they're not doing anything about it. They're just going with the flow and just trying to live their lives, but yet still complaining about every step of the way. Even with the previous friend, he placed that woman in his life and married her. He chose to do that. Now she's causing him grief and now he doesn't want to get rid of her. That's his fault. That's his problem. So I don't feel bad for him. This girl here placed obstacles in her own way. She had kids. She can't do what she wants to do now. Or she could, but she just chooses not to. Therefore, I don't feel bad for her. And there's people like that. A lot of people in my life that are like that. And there's no way I can feel bad for them when they place these things in their lives and they don't do anything about it afterwards, but they can just sit there and complain. Okay, don't complain to me. Don't call me then because you know exactly what I'm going to say. So...
Oh, yeah. And after that last time I talked to her, once we had dinner, I just cut out of my life. Mm-hmm. I don't have time for this because she got to a point to where she was putting her insecurities onto me and then she was putting her Marvel what if theories on me. She brought up my high school sweetheart who I haven't been with in a long time. Why are you bringing this up? Especially when you've known I've been with Shana for a while now. Why would you bring it up? Why would you ask me? Do you ever think, what if you stayed with so-and-so? She has kids with this guy now, but what if those were your kids? Do you ever think about if you and her decided to have kids? I have. And we both decided we didn't want kids together. That's why we broke up.
Right.
That's exactly why we broke up. We had an adult talk. She was ready to settle down and have kids, and I was not. She broke up with me to do me a favor. She did not want me to resent her and our kids for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So she broke up with me, and we walked away from that relationship, not hating each other. Breaking up's the best thing to do. She tried to bring that shit back up just so I can feel bad with her. I'm like, no, boo-boo. I don't live a life of self-pity anymore. I'm not going to feel bad about things that have already happened and things I couldn't change. I made that decision with a sound mind. I'm good with it. I don't go back. I just move forward. All right, y'all. This episode is running super long. So guess what? It's your lucky day. The final episode is now a 2-part episode. Yay! Woo! Y'all get another episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast next week because we ran our mouths way too long. So tune in next week for the conclusion.
Ooh.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. Tune in next week for the conclusion of the final episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast.
It's like those stupid endings to those reality TV shows. Will Jessica kill Brian?
No, they just did this shit on Attack on Titans too. Like the final season, part 2. Like, y'all bitches.
I know. This whole time I'm thinking it's the last episode, and they're like, leave us on a cliffhanger. Man, there's gonna be a second season.
It ain't the final season.
It's not. But hey, good for y'all because you get another episode and get to savor it for all it is because we may not come back. So enjoy while you can.
So with that said, make sure you check out our Etsy store, FanServicFandoms. Even if you ain't ready to buy none, you can still favorite some items and get the traction going from this new store. Check back often because we got new shit coming every week. It takes a minute to create the product and take some pictures. So make sure y'all definitely check back. Oh, and one last plug. If y'all in the Chicago area, Friday, November 19th, Shana and I are hosting a party once again at Panic Escape Room. It's called Angsgiving, the Cosplay Party. Why is it called Angsgiving? Because we both love Avatar: The Last Airbender. And one year, Nickelodeon decided to show Avatar: The Last Airbender all weekend, and they called that special the Angsgiving special because Aang is, the Avatar Aang. So we're calling it Angsgiving because we've always wanted to do an event called that, and I will bust out my Aang cosplay from retirement. I may not be shirtless because I've gained a lot of quarantine pounds, but y'all will still get some Airbender action. Avatar cosplay not required. It's free to attend. Just join us. Have one last celebration before the holidays happen and everyone's so busy with work and more work and family shit and more work. But come join us for Angsgiving. It's going to be a good time. Like I said, it's free to attend. Just make it to the Chicago area. Sean and I are doing this for y'all. One last gift from the Shinobi Squad Podcast. It is a free party for y'all to attend. People have been having a great time at our parties at the Panic Escape Room because we got a gaming room. We have a party room. We got all the escape rooms. We have different activities. We had a food truck last month. We got a bar, and they be selling drinks for like $5. Like, you ain't going to get any cheaper drinks in Chicago. So come out because y'all can support us. Y'all can support what we doing. Friday, November 19th, Panic Escape Room in Hoffman Estates, Angsgiving, the cosplay party. It'll bring honor to your family and the Fire Nation. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into the second to last episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm FanService Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Just kidding, it's not over. Yay!
Yeah! Coolo. Oh, that means butt, doesn't it?
Sorry. I have no idea.